One, two, three. And now we're live. Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you to Jaws Christ Talk. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Christ Talk on February 9th, 2024. Today we have Alan Tai here with us. Alan is a physicist, a scientist, and he is bringing in a book by Hugh Ross that's called Navigating Genesis. And we actually, I think today is our fifth one. It's a very exciting one here because we're talking about the days, day one, day two, day three, what's going on. And today he's actually going to be talking about the moon a little bit and how important the moon is a miracle. Everything about our solar system and the universe, if you start picking it apart, is a miracle too. Everything that has gone on and God has created. So, special thanks to Wingate TV, Transform U Media, Zach with Pack Channel, and Jay Stoyhan with Disability Channel for hosting our shows. Be sure to share and subscribe to our page or wherever you found this. Now, let's get to the show. Okay, Alan, say hello to everybody.
Hi, hello. Yeah, I thank you for John. Even he retired, but he's so anxious to do this thing using all the technology and to talk to people. I'm glad that I can be you are the host for this show. At least once a month. Of course, you have more other people go through your channel, and glad to be here.
Yes, I'd like to tell everybody that I met Alan at an RTB, Reasons to Believe. It's a science group, Christian believers that were basically old earthers, meaning that we believe the earth is 13.8 billion years old. But we do not believe in evolution. But we believe that the earth is really old. And maybe one of these days we'll talk about evolution. Alan and I will, because it's an unproven fact. So we don't believe that. We believe that the mankind came into being, and as well as all life on our planet, because God spoke it into being. Right. So today, Navigating Genesis from Hugh Ross of RTB. Alan and I belong to the local one in the Phoenix area, which is located in Tempe, and we meet once a month. Tomorrow is actually when we have a meeting, and you can either come and show up live, or you can do because they have a Zoom meeting and that's what I do. I get on and I do the Zoom, and it's very interesting, the things we learn and the conversations that we have. So that's where I met Alan. And I actually helped build his website because I'm a website designer. So Alan has a website of his own that you can read a lot of stuff that he writes about in his blog. It's scienceandlife.org. Go there. He has also written a book. Do you have your book in front of you there, Alan?
A physicist. Let me get it.
Yeah, just I think it's called The Physicist's Perspective on God. So I found that his book being very interesting because there it is.
Oh, sorry. A physicist's perspective on God.
Right. And you can order that from Amazon, I believe, by going to his website. And then his website again is scienceandlife.org, and it will give you the link to his Amazon location for that. I think what is so refreshing about his book is that not only is he a scientist, but he is a real believer in Jesus Christ, and he loves Jesus. And you'll find that out here too. Getting a perspective on God from a scientist is kind of unusual, because a lot of scientists don't really talk about their belief in God, or many of them are atheists. So that's where we're at here. So, Alan, give us a little perspective. How long have you been a scientist, and how long have you been a Christian?
Well, there's not a distinct point of time that I become a scientist. I start with a curiosity when I was young. I like to look at nature, and particular the mileage and light, and I always curious what's behind all this nature, and I read a lot of books about science. There is a very good like a science book called uh, like 100,000 question. Why? So I read them from the library that I borrow the books, and so that motivated me to learn more. And when I learned physics, I was fascinated by all this law of physics. And when I come to US more than 40 years ago, I studied physics. So
Where did Alan?
yeah.
Where did you come from? Where did you grow up?
Oh, I grew up in Hong Kong, a small city near. I mean, it's close to between very close to China, and right now it's belong to China. It used to be a British colony until 1997. So I learned English in that city, and so it's in Asia basically. So that area have a lot of culture, a lot of religions, and so until I come to US, I become a scientist uh, after I finished my PhD in physics, and but I start working in engineer. Yes, that is my background.
Very good, very good. And you live in the Phoenix area, is that right?
Why not too far away from you?
Yeah, and I'm in the Phoenix area too. I live in Mesa.
Right.
So let's get started talking about navigating Genesis. And you sent me a couple of the photographs of the book itself. And are we on page 41 or 40 here? Because
Well, we can. Last time we finished 38. So today we can start somewhere 40. But 39 is talking about the moon miracle and the day one. So we'll go through little bit background about day one, and then we'll talk about the moon miracle, which is in 40, 41, and we'll cover some of the 42 and 43.
Okay, go ahead. Start out where you would like to begin here with day one.
Sure.
And please take it away.
Yeah. Thanks for the introduction. Just like John said, we believe in God because there's evidence. What kind of evidence that give us as whether you are a scientist or not, you want to know the truth in life, right? You don't want to believe something superstition or false. So it's important to have some evidence that you can base on for your belief and the faith that we have encountered. So that is extremely important. The reason why I believe in God, first I met Jesus. This is a subjective experience, but when I read his word and pray to him, I met him. But when I go back to Genesis, where he created everything, he don't just tell us he just create everything and stop, that's it. But he give us the Genesis chapter 1 to the whole book of Genesis is 50 chapter. However, just the first chapter is so important, so much physics that is behind the chapter 1. So we just finished the first few words, and because there's so many things behind it, and what God described, He just give us enough information. The rest we can fill in between different stages, but all the milestone He put in the Bible is fully agree with the latest scientific discovery, and also based on the best engineering and scientific study of the design behind the amazing things that we observe. Whether you are a scientist or astronomer, doesn't matter. We are just regular people. When you look up the sky, the two things you know is important. Even every day you will see it. But in Phoenix, most of the time we have a sun, and at night there's a cycle of the moon appear on the sky. Okay, so these two light is so important for our survival. Without the sun, I mean everything dead. No light, no food, right? We eat our food basically from photosynthesis, whether it's a plant life or animal life. All this, the source is from light. That's why in day one, God said, let there be light, and there was light. Okay, He didn't say in day 1 verse 3 He created light. He just said let there be light. That is very important scientifically, because in verse 1, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. That means He goes straight to the observation point in verse 2. The first verse is just an introduction. He don't go through all the detail how He create, because the Bible also written for all the generation. Think about 3,500 years ago. If He mentioned the black hole is no meaning, no one will understand black hole. So He want to bring the observer to verse 2 to start the scientific investigation of the key items He described in the Bible. And then based on that, we understand how marvelous God create this step by step.
Right.
So verse 2 is, and the earth was waste and void. That means it's not ready for life, because that's what I say, it's waste and void, right? And darkness was upon the face of the deep. That means in this situation, the earth, the Spirit of God is like the Spirit of God bring us into this position. The position, initial condition where we observe, when we read this, is upon the face of the water. Spirit of God move upon the face of the water. But the starting point is we are looking at from the surface of the water. At that time, the light is not there yet. The reason is when God create the heaven and earth, we know that there's a lot of energy. Mass and energy is somehow they interchangeable at the beginning. Okay, but with the energy, with the material, there's already have star life and everywhere. However, the latest discovery, the astronomer, the Earth in this particular position away from the sun, that the Earth should have a lot of water cover it, and the atmosphere is so thick that if you are in the surface of the water. When you look to the sky, it's so thick, it's opaque, the atmosphere at that time, so that you don't see light yet before day one. So it is darkness everywhere. But of course, Earth, God's spirit, he still can be there. Anywhere in the universe, God's spirit is there. The reason why he tell us he's moving upon the surface of water, first he's doing something, and also he want to bring the observer to the surface of the water. And then the amazing thing is, let there be light. That means he open up the atmosphere so that the light can penetrate into the atmosphere. Not 100% yet compared with today. It is kind of translucent. That means partially, to let the light come into the earth. Okay, so that's something is really, really amazing. Is that the great miracle of creation day one is that light become visible from Earth's surface for the very first time, and then keeping in mind Earth's initial condition and frame of reference, the reader can picture what happened on day one. Okay,
Right.
the Earth's atmosphere changed from opaque to translucent, not transparent yet, but clear enough to permit light's passage. The killing of the debris we can easily understand. Gravity through time pulls stuff out of a forming planetary system's disk and into its more massive object, especially its star. In other words, gravity serves as a vacuum cleaner. Okay. However, the change in Earth's atmosphere presents a serious challenge to our understanding. Okay. As astronomer, right now we know that in the planetary formation, including our solar system or some other star out in the space, is that the greater a planet surface gravity and the greater its distance from its star, the healthy and thicker its atmosphere. Okay, that means our atmosphere is supposed to be very thick, and so that when you are in the surface of the light, the water, you cannot see anything. But why all suddenly it clear up? Okay, so at least partially let the light come through. So that is a mystery that scientists for years don't understand. Okay, yeah, until they looked at the moon miracle. Now the scientists can find a hypothesis so that they can test on it. This hypothesis. That's a scientific method. I am teaching in Grand Canyon University. The first thing I will teach the student is scientific method. That means you have to have a testable question, hypothesis, what kind of variable you want to measure, all this in order to make a conclusion and evaluation effective and correct. So the solution to Earth atmosphere mystery is for sure there is a creator, and of course the moon is the object that God divine intervene to make the moon to be next to our Earth. Okay, we'll go through why it's so important to have moon, but we start with why the moon was there. Okay.
How did the moon came in? How did it come into being?
Exactly. That's what I'm going to go through, because the astronomer know that the Earth was far too small and much too close to the sun, relatively speaking, for the moon to form at the same time and place as Earth from the solar disk material, or for Earth to capture the moon from a planetary orbit into its present lunar orbit. From common sense scientific discovery with other star people using telescope to look at, this is almost impossible based on the position of the Earth. The resolution of the lunar puzzle begins with analysis of lunar walk sample brought back by Apollo missions. When you are as a children, long time ago, 1969, you watch the TV, so excited. All the first time,
I remember.
Yeah, that's why the first time there's an astronomer step into the moon. That's what they say. A small step in the moon, a big step for human. Yeah.
Yep.
So they bring back the walk. This walk is evident to reveal that the moon is slightly younger than Earth. That's why they don't form together at the same time. So we have the evidence the moon walk is younger. The same lunar walk tells us the moon's crust is lighter than and chemically distinct from Earth to a certain extent. Okay. Astronomers measure the moon's slow and steady spiral away from Earth, which indicate the moon was in or near contact with Earth about 4.4 billion years ago by their calculation. Okay, because they can check the orbit, measure very accurately. Over a period of time, they found the moon was slowly going away, very slow. Okay, if you project back in time, then the moon and the Earth was actually in some kind of contact. Even we don't have a video recording, but based on the scientific evidence, that's the best hypothesis. And when they test it with all the evidence from the moon observation, all this, they finally have enough data to do the computer simulation to understand what happened about 4.4 billion years ago. Okay,
Alan, how old is our sun, our star in the center of our galaxy? How old is our star?
The solar system was estimated about 4.5 billion years ago. Estimated. Before that, there's the Milky Way is already there, but the solar system go through few distinct so-called like a supernova, but in current position with the sun and the planet, estimate is about 4.5 billion.
Okay, so this thing with our moon, and I know it was probably something that ran another type of a planet that was smaller than the Earth that ran into the Earth. So this all happened very early in the formation of the solar system.
Right. So the moon's distinct chemical makeup and younger age say that the moon and Earth did not form together at the same time. The moon's movement away from Earth and the measured slowing of Earth's rotation. In the past, our Earth was moving much faster. Okay, but now because the moon is orbiting and then slowly going away, we know that at one point it hit the Earth, and then the Earth was rotating very fast, but because the moon is orbiting around the Earth, it's also the gravity slowing down the rotation. So that means when the moon hit Earth, the Earth one day can be 5 hours, 6 hours. Okay, but
Right.
after billion years, it slowed down to 24 hours. It's good. I mean, if you wait a longer time in the future, maybe 25 hours. But at that time, it could be quite different. Yeah, of course. The white line
Today,
is just white.
question for you:
Sure.
the asteroid belt. Do some astro or physicists or astronomers believe that the asteroid belt was the particles from the collision with the Earth, or where did the?
So I think that one is another story. We are
Okay.
focusing on the moon because the Earth with this impact and the moon, there is some kind of debate, all the article coming. So that about based on this estimation, the contact occurred more than 4 billion years ago. Okay, so that's an estimation. Only one collision scenario fit all the observed Earth's moon parameter and dynamic. That means now even NASA have this simulation, and all the scientists basically agree on this hypothesis. And this proof that there's a divine intervention, because based on the model, a body about the size of Mars, so 9 times the mass of the current moon, and 1/9 the mass of the Earth, when it before the impact. So this, for some reason, the planet, it used to be, could be a planet between Earth and Mars, but it comes so close, eventually they collapse. But this collapse is not random. It had to be very precise. Make about a 45 angle collision with Earth and was absorbed for the most part into Earth's coil. That means this material, a lot of things through the impact, it just transfer a lot of material into the Earth.
So in other words, what you're saying is that this object that hit the Earth did not hit it straight on. It almost hit it like sideswiping it.
45 degree with the Earth. So like think about if the Earth was moving in a plane on the solar system. So this particular one is not from the top, but a sideways, somehow 45 degree. It's well calculated. The model indicate if it is 1 degree or 2 degree plus and minus, we won't get today's Earth. So it had to be so precise that even the atheists, they will be surprised that they may say, "Oh, just by chance." I mean, you can hit anything by chance; it won't form anything meaningful. Okay, so but this such a collision would have blast almost all of Earth's original atmosphere into outer space. The debris cloud arising from the collision would have orbited Earth and eventually to combine that after billions of years to form our current moon. Think about there is a big impact, and this impact clear out all the atmosphere. Remember, we were talking about the before the first day, the Earth was formless and void and darkness. So based on our observation with other stars, the planet is basically have water and thick atmosphere, very thick. Okay, that's God is using this event, the formation of the moon, to move away all this thick atmosphere, all the junk out into the away from the Earth atmosphere, so that our current atmosphere is thinner, so that it will be get ready for human or all the life to live in this Earth. Because without that impact, our atmosphere is so thick, carbon dioxide, all things, nothing can survive without
this object. This object that hit us, did it have an atmosphere of any sort?
I didn't know yet. It could have some kind of atmosphere, but since it's smaller, so it can be have some kind of atmosphere. But regardless, this collision is a miracle. I mean,
Yeah, if you think about the four inner planets, Mercury, Venus, and if you look at Venus, Venus is approximately the size of the Earth. But Mars, which is outside the Earth, it is much smaller. So this other object, this other planet, that hit us was, like you said, the size of Mars. It was smaller than the Earth.
right.
Interesting.
Like people look at the Mars, they don't have atmosphere. I mean, everything was for some reason they don't have the protection like our Earth, so that all the comic, all the space object hit the Mars pretty bad. Okay,
Right.
so but anyway, this remarkable event delivered Earth from a life suffocating atmosphere, very thick, and produce a replacement atmosphere thin enough and with the right chemical composition to permit the light to Earth's surface. That's exactly what God in the first stage said, let there be light. Okay? Yeah. So he don't fill in the data, allow the scientists fill in. But God didn't say he created light, because that's in the first verse. So let there be light, that means he opened up this atmosphere so that we can see full out, not 100%, but still important for the photosynthesis to Earth's surface. It add to the mass and density of Earth just enough that Earth's gravity becomes strong enough to hold on to a large quantity of water vapor for billions of years. Think about if too much mass go into the space, if we are too small, we cannot hold the water. Right? When you after the impact, all the water go out, we become dry, just like the
Okay.
mass.
Let me see if I got this straight.
Right.
Because of the way this object hit the Earth, it not only cleaned up the atmosphere for
Right.
life, but it also allowed water to stay on the surface. If it would have been much bigger, it probably would have blown all the water into space.
No, I mean, if it's much smaller, if too much things get out from the Earth, then the Earth is not large enough to hold the water because of gravity. But this Earth look like well calculated, that the Moon add extra mass into the Earth, so that there's something go out, but at the same time the water majority still can be kept inside the Earth because of gravity. Okay.
Amazing. That's amazing. Isn't
That's
that
amazing.
amazing? It blows me away.
But exactly, when you read this, I mean, how can this is evidence? I mean, when you look at that, people ask evolution, say, well, what's the evidence? Look at the Bible and the latest discovery. The Bible just reinforce what we discovered. But
Right.
just from the pure scientific point of view, this event, the collision by nature is impossible.
Yeah.
I mean,
Think about the solar system. The sun has to be exactly the size of the sun that it is, and the Earth has to be almost exactly the distance that it is away from the sun to be able to have life. And then we have to have this moon that is exactly the size that it is and exactly far away. When you watch a solar eclipse, the moon is just perfect, that when we have an eclipse and people that are in the eclipse, And by the way, April 8th, we're going to have another eclipse. It's going to go over us, and we'll be able to see it. A good part of the United States will be able to see it. And maybe that's what we can talk about in April, is about the eclipse.
Okay, yeah.
Might as well. But if you look at it, the moon is exactly the size that covers the sun. So we can see the corona and everything around the sun. And another miracle, too, is the fact that the Bible says that the universe began at one specific point in time. Why is that important? It's because the Bible said that God spoke the universe into being at a specific point in time. And for many centuries, scientists believed that our solar system, or our universe, was in a steady state, that it's always been here. But if you go back to Genesis, which was written 3.5 billion or 3.5 thousand years ago, it said that God spoke it into being at one specific point in time.
Mhm.
That the Big Bang happened at a specific point in time. And most scientists until the last century didn't believe that. So the Bible was actually speaking about the Big Bang all those thousands of years ago. So that's time and space all started at one specific point in time. Anyway, let's go back where you were at here, Alan.
Sure. There's a few more things. The moon, the advantage of the moon with this impact being into the Earth to prepare the environment good enough to start a life step by step. It play a major role in sorting Earth interior with a huge abundance of radioisotopes material that generate heat. The heat from which it drives most of Earth's exceptionally high tectonics and volcanic activity. So with this kind of heat uneven, so they somehow with this Earth movement, the so-called the Earth plate tectonics can move around, and some of the mountain is move up later. Okay, so of course this can be continued. It gradually slow Earth rotation rate so that progressively advanced life form could be introduced, and it stabilized the tilt of Earth rotation axis, protect the planet from life extinguishing climate extremes. Think about currently the tectonic activity is outgassing. That means to let the carbon dioxide go, because they form some kind of acid, very small acid carbonate, okay, carbon dioxide. But because tectonics open up and all this material, extra material with carbon dioxide, they go into the Earth inner position, and then recycle it with the volcanic. They bring back the rich chemical go up, so that the soil, the environment is rich with all the fertilizing soil. So that's a later day, but it's a preparation for that with this impact. That's why there's an earthquake. At that time, during the day 1 or day 2, the tectonics, the plate movement is much faster, more earthquake than right now. Even lately, there's a more earthquake than in the past. But compared with billion years ago, now it's already quite a little bit, relatively speaking. And the moon is tilted at 23.5 degrees. And people calculate this is the angle for the Earth to tilt. not only have 4 seasons, but it's stabilized to have the best temperature range. It's not too hot or not too cold. Phoenix is hot, but within the normal range.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still, you have a range that human can live, right? So if Phoenix is 60 degrees Celsius, or if Phoenix become 150 Fahrenheit, we cannot survive. I mean,
Yeah.
115 is not good, right? So, but it's still
Right.
tolerable. And winter is good right now here, but other places can be very cold. So
Yeah.
with the moon, it make this happen. Okay, so not only that, maybe I talked a little bit last time. I won't go through the detail. So the important element from the moon transfer to the earth with all this carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, sulfate, hydrogen, and in the bowl silica. It can improve the so-called magnetic field through this rich and richer material. So the magnetic field protect us from the sun's radiation. Okay, so but anyway, when the with all this exceptionally high tectonics and volcanic activity, it stabilize the tilt of Earth's rotation axis, and this amazing collision, we have an abundance of circumstantial evidence appear to have been perfectly timed and guided to transfer Earth from a formless and empty, or void and empty, from the Bible Genesis 2nd verse, placed into a site where life could survive and sustain. And in fact, the degree of fine-tuning favorable to life revealed in this single remarkable event argue powerfully on its own for a divine creator. Even if the universe contains as many as 10 billion trillion planets, like 10 to the power of 22, we would not expect even one by natural process alone, that means random process,
Right.
to end up with the surface gravity, surface temperature, atmosphere composition, atmosphere pressure, crystal iron abundance, tectonics, volcanism, rotation weight, rate of decline in rotation rate, and stable rotation axis tilt necessary for the support of life. Those people decide to have see a miracle are looking at one whenever they look up the sky
Right.
at the moon. Of course, the sun is another miracle, but the moon, the impact to the earth, is definitely a miracle. No doubt about it.
Isn't it amazing how God set this all in motion at one specific time too, and all these things would line up. The thing that I get a kick out of, and I think about how our Earth and the other planets in our solar system circle the sun, okay, and they're all moving, but the moon is actually circling the Earth also. So you got two movements in there. But what is, if you look at it, the sun is also on the move, okay, within our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy. And if you look at it also, the Milky Way galaxy is on the move. It's also
Right.
moving. So you got something that's moving this way, moving, and rotation here. So you got like 5 things, 6, 8, 9 things all moving, and the sun is moving, and they said that our solar system actually was, when you look at the Milky Way, was much closer to the center of the Milky Way, and now we're out on one of the arms or the legs, so that we've moved away from the center, and they say that in the center of our galaxy and most galaxies, there's a black hole. So
Right.
everything within that galaxy is circling that black hole. and all of that is moving, so everything is constantly moving, and the thing that all holds it together is gravity, which you can't.
Scientists calculate how fast, since we are rotating around the black hole, the solar system. Do you know how fast we are moving based on the physics law of motion? People calculate we are moving, the solar system is 600,000 miles per hour in the galaxy space. That is how quick we are moving. 600,000 miles per hour. When you drive 100 miles per hour, you get a ticket. But think about 600,000 miles per hour. You don't feel it that much. When you sleep, you are okay, right? You don't feel, but you already move very fast in space.
Right. When the Big Bang blew up and God pulled the trigger on it, it started moving outward.
Right.
And it not just one direction, it started going out in all the directions, So with all the amount of galaxies out there, not just the amount of stars, but the amount of galaxies is just absolutely enormous. And we didn't even get a good handle on how many stars, much less how many galaxies are out there until about the last 60 years. This is something new. And when we started looking through the telescopes, and now we have a new telescope that is looking deep into. They take the Hubble, when they wanted to find out there were dark black spaces in between other stars, so they wanted to see what was in that black space, and they really just centered it right on that black space, and lo and behold, there's just more stars. It's
so let me just give a summary, wrap up today's podcast. So people may ask, what if we had no moon, or what if the moon is not there? Then that's a big issue. Low natural light at night, low romantic poems, low eclipse, and then low atmosphere, low seasons. There will be low tides to wash out all the dirt, all the things that's not good, and low magnetic field to protect us from all the radiation, not only from the sun, but from cosmic ray. Low electro shield against frequent impacts, and then no life without the moon. So that is confirmed from a lot of observation from this Earth Life Expo planets that have moons. But in this stage, this day, with sunlight penetrating the atmosphere, we were just talking about the atmosphere cleaning up, an observer on Earth water surface, where we were just talking about in verse 2, now could detect for the first time the cycle of day and night. Although the Earth has been rotating since its formation, but an observer inside may not see it until the atmosphere become thinner and thinner, and let there be light. Then the day and night would be meaningful, can be observable. Okay, the thinner atmosphere could help moderate Earth's surface temperature condition. The air and ground temperature would vary smoothly from daytime highs to nighttime low, providing a comfortable cycle of heating and cooling. Because this rotation, 1 day, 24 hours, with the day and night, it's just good enough. The temperature won't be too hot, like some of other planets, the Venus or Mercury. They don't rotate that much. So one side is very hot, one side can be cold. I mean, no life. When you say hot, it's really hot. Few hundred, more than few hundred Fahrenheit on one side. So that's pretty much no life can exist. Yeah. All these changes were significant for life, but none was more crucial than the possibility for photosynthesis. Because when there's light from the sun become available to plants, which is come back in day 3. Okay, but the atmosphere is prepared. When there's a light, become available to plants, enable them to efficiently transform large quantities of water and carbon dioxide into sugar, starch, fats, and free oxygen. All this food is ready to produce by the plant in later day. But this environment is not by chance and is fully recorded in the Bible. And finally, the conclusion I have is read from the Bible, Song 8. Genesis is talk about the creation miracle, and also the step by step tell us how God give us the clear event presentation so that human can understand, comprehend how much God have done for human being. Song is 8 is the songless King David is a response to God's amazing grace and power and love. So he say, "Oh Jehovah, our Lord, how excellent is your name in all the earth, who have set thy glory upon the heavens. Out of the mouth of babes and sucking has thou established strength because of thy adversary, that thou may still the enemy and the avenger." This second verse just talk about the negative side. But verse 3 say, "When I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon," he first say the moon here, because I assume we are in the earth, because verse 1 he say, "How excellent is your name in all the earth," right? So the observer in this case is on the earth. When he look up, the first thing he say that the moon and the star which thy has ordained. See, he said it there. The moon. He didn't in this song. Somehow he didn't mention the sun. Of course, the sun can be the star, but the first thing he mentioned is the moon. This is a miracle moon, because without the moon we cannot survive, even the sun. Of course, the God is behind all this. And what is man that thy art so mindful of him? We are so small. It's not smaller than a dust in the universe. And the Son of Man that you visit him, for you have made him little, but little lower than God, and crowns him with glory and honor. And later, this with Hebrew, he also talk about Jesus to come to visit us. Okay, and you make him to have dominion over the work of thy hands. You have put all things under his feet, all sheep and all oxen, you and the beasts of the and the beasts of the field, the birds of the heaven and the fish of the sea, whoever pass through the path of the sea. That we are, we supposed to manage it. God give a human to manage them. Of course, later because human sin, but through Jesus, He saved us. So eventually, one day we still can manage the things that God wants us to do in the new heaven and new earth. Oh, Jehovah our Lord, how excellent is your name in all the earth. So today is only finished just day 1 and the miracle. So next time we talk about water cycle, day 2.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, that's interesting.
Wow.
It just shows you. It seems like every other day I hear about. They say a scientist said that there's an exoplanet out there, and there's a really good chance that there's life on that planet, and there's life on this planet, and there's life on this planet. But they're talking to people that have no idea. That's why we're talking about this, how complex it is for a particular planet to have life on it, sustaining life. Not only does the sun itself has to be a specific size, but the exoplanet has to have water on it, and it has to have a moon that is the size that it is. There's so many complexities to it that when you started peeling the banana away from all of that, it's very rare to have a setup like we have on this planet here and this galaxy. We have to have these two supergiant planets like Jupiter and Saturn because they act like a magnet for meteors that are flying through the solar system. Otherwise, we'd be pummeled with all kinds of meteors coming in and killing life off or destroying it like the meteor that hit when the dinosaurs all died off. You know, so it's just incredible to me that God has designed it to be as it is.
Wow.
And when you start talking about evolution, and that's pretty much why I don't believe in that there's aliens, there's any other life out in the rest of the universe. I just don't believe it anymore. Everything from the complexity to that satellite system that's listening to the rest of the universe for radio signals coming in. I haven't found anything after all these years. And if you don't believe in evolution, then you can't believe that evolution occurred in the rest of the universe either. And I know a lot of atheists say, well, why did God create so much? Wasn't it a waste of time creating all these other planets? And it's really not. He had all the resources that he wanted. There's no waste or anything, so he could do all that he wanted. And I know there's a lot of questions they throw out there, and I know that Job started to question God a little bit too. But if you look at the end of Job, God said to Job, "Where were you when I created?"
Exactly.
Right? Where were you when I did this?
God is preparing all the material, but we are not formed yet.
Yeah.
But God will already know that because in Song 139, I can read a real quick, just a few verses to appreciate how much God have looked after. For thy did form my inward parts, that this cover me in my mother's womb. Okay. I will give thanks unto thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are thy works, and that my soul know very well. My fame was not hidden from thee, when I was made in secret and curiously wove in the lowest part of the earth. Thy eye did see my unformed substance. See, unformed substance. We didn't born yet. But God already know that. And in your book, they were all written, even the day that were ordained for me, when as yet there was none of them. Some people say this is the book of the DNA, because everyone have a DNA that God already written. How we look like, how things will become changed over time. God already written in our DNA the book of life, physical life, not the spiritual book life. But
like I could go back to it again. He could say that to us. Where
when we
were
have
you?
new heaven and new earth, everyone will look younger, right? Everyone will be just maybe when we were 30 years old. Some people will say that we don't know how we look like, but definitely younger, without aging, always happy in the new heaven and new earth. We have confidence because we have the Bible. That is the evidence. When we look at the creation, it's miracle. And when we have faith in Jesus, Jesus died and resurrected. Tonight, I will have a Bible study talk about John 11. Jesus say, He is resurrection. He just say, I am resurrection and I am life. I mean, people, when you say who you are, you may say, I am John Tai, I am Alan Tai. You won't say I am resurrection unless it's from God, right? God can say, I am resurrection, I am life. Then you have to be careful. And then
Hey, hey,
so
Alan, I got to break us off here. We're
sure.
running
Okay.
right at the end here.
Okay.
I just want to tell everybody, come back. We're going to be talking about day 2 next month. Thank you, everybody who is here with us. Our next episode of Jaws Christ Talk with Alan will be in March. And be sure to subscribe to our channel and page where you found us. These are very interesting discussions, and you can find them all on YouTube also. Thank you, Ellen, for being here. Let's
Sure.
keep this up. It's a great discussion. Okay,
Thank
see you
you.
next month,
Yeah.
Alan.
See you tomorrow also. Yeah, bye.
Okay, yeah, tomorrow.
Bye. Okay.